Yo guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink. Today's topic is intermediate smooth jazz guitar system change. This is going to be the first tutorial of a whole series of a full course. And we're starting with a system change, and we're going to play along with this backing track which I created for you guys and figure out some cool stuff. And so on. Oh wow, the piano has really a long delay. This is a really standard smooth jazz track which I created. I created in a slow tempo, 80 BPMs. And what is new now, and that's why we're entering the intermediate phase of playing smooth jazz guitar. Now instead of playing just pentatonics or blues scale over this track, which also works of course, that doesn't mean you shall not do that. It's basically it's quite cool, but now we're starting to follow the chords and to completely change the system of thinking on the guitar in order to follow the chords. And that's what's going to be today's topic: how to change the system, how to change the perception of what's going on, and to put it on the fretboard. So, how you do that? First of all, you need to know the chords which are played. They're quite simple. It's a really standard progression. We have G minor to E flat major 7 to C minor 7 and to F. And that's the first thing you need to memorize. And then we have each created the backing track extra. Each chord has 2 bars, so you have enough time to figure out where you want to go and which is next chord and all that stuff. And now we're going to change the system of thinking on the fretboard, and therefore we're going to the close view. As I already said, we're going to follow the chords now, and so each chord is going to be one single element which you're gonna put something specific on. So the first chord is G minor, regular G minor. So we are using the G minor or G minor 7 chord here, and therefore the scale which goes along with this one here is the regular one here. But I'm using 3 note per string scales. Why? Because you only need to know 2 patterns to cover the whole fretboard. Why? If you check out G minor 7, Aeolian, it's like this. So you cover from here till here. Here's the G again. Here comes the second pattern, which will be this here. So cover from here till here, and now we're back to the G. Then the first pattern would start again. So you only need 2 patterns to cover the whole fretboard. That's the first thing you need to start working with. So G minor 7 Aeolian. So we're using this one here, and we're also using the arpeggio. Or like this. Inside this pattern it will be like this. This is a little bit tricky, so we just take it here. So this will be the G minor 7 arpeggio with the G minor scale. Then we have E flat major 7, which would be this. Well, you could also take this one here Also works if you want. We will not make it too hard maybe at the moment. So we take this one here. So this would be the arpeggio. E flat major 7 arpeggio. Or if you take the other one here, this will be this scale. This will be Lydian. 3 note per string. And the arpeggio would be. You could also do like this. That's up onto you. It's not necessary to know the arpeggios so well, just as an orientation point. Then C minor 7, this will be here. Same again, 3 note per string. Dorian. This one here, okay? And the arpeggio will be this here. I'm gonna write this all down, that you can practice the stuff. And the last chord will be F. So we take this one here, F mixolydian. This will be this scale. F mixolydian, and the arpeggio will be this one here. Now, what do you do with this? It's not too complicated. These are just the reference points, okay? You need to, when you change the system, you need to learn the new reference points on the fretboard, because most guitar players come from the minor pentatonics, and that's okay. You can work with minor pentatonics here, but start to use and switch between the chords. So you can select any spot, anywhere in the progression where you want to add. Let's take the C minor. On the C minor we want to add a little arpeggio. Maybe something like this. Just part of the arpeggio on the C minor, and on the maybe on the E flat we also take the arpeggio. Quite similar. And on the G minor we just make blues scale, and on the F we need to resolve the whole phrase here on F, on this little part here, okay? So now we're gonna play to the track, and I try to explain. It's not about playing many notes, you know, I'm just showing stuff, but it's about that you always know where you are and where your notes are inside the progression. That's what it's all about. I'm gonna show you. G minor, going to E flat major, C minor 7, to F. It's nothing special what I'm doing. Again, G minor, E flat major. Or you can make an arpeggio here. C minor, F. So that works pretty well. As I said, you can jump in anywhere you want. You can stay in position and just take one chord, you know, start step by step. Let's do pentatonics, but only relate to the F onto to the C minor. Let's see how that sounds. It's gonna sound cool. We're still in pentatonics. Now we're switching to C minor. And resolve to F. Pentatonics. And now we're switching to C minor. I did now, it was really simple. I just played a regular pentatonic lick, and then when I knew C minor is coming, in this case I just played the scale in 60 notes, and then when the F came I resolved to the F. That's basically all which I didn't know, but it sounds really fresh when you're coming from pentatonic only player, you know. And the system changes that you start to use both. Of course, at the beginning, it's not possible that you can switch directly and always follow each chord. And sometimes it's cool to play pentatonics because it gives a kind of a some familiar sound. Let's put it this way: you don't want to go too much away from a familiar sound, and then you just add some little new elements on the spot where you want to do it. There you need to know what you can do. And that's what the basic system change is, that you always know where you are, you know which tools you can use. You need to start to practice these tools. You need to practice these scales. I'm going to write them down for you guys. I can make an example. Now we're just doing something on E flat major, and there I'm using this scale or the arpeggio. And in between we're just making pentatonics, but I resolve on F because somehow that's the ending point of the progression. Let's do this. Starting with the pentatonics. E flat. Do the scale. Back to pentatonics. Resolve to F. So now you see how the whole thing works. I did not do too wild stuff, but the main thing is that you need to train, that you always know where you are, whatever you're doing on the fretboard. Don't make stuff too complicated on the fretboard that you lose the orientation. That's the main task you need to work on. You guys, that was Intermediate Smooth Jazz Guitar 1 system change. The system change is 3 steps. First one, stop using pentatonics and start thinking about progression. Practice that whatever you do while you're playing, you always know which chord you're playing. That's extremely important. And I made this track extra for you guys. It's slow. It's each chord has 2 bars. You're not under stress. It still sounds good if you would make 4 bar chords. Well, that would be not so nice, but 2 bars is okay. You have enough time to think about and to figure out where to go. And then, last but not least, you need to build up your technical abilities in order that you're able to play these scales. And while you practice these scales, also figure out the arpeggio, because the arpeggio is the grid of the chord, and this is all stuff which you have to keep in mind while you're following the chord progression. You know what you can play, you know where the arpeggio is, and how it, most important, you learn step by step how it sounds, and then it starts to open up a complete new world on the fretboard, which I call the system change, and that's what it's all. This is now the first step, and maybe it sounds a bit hard and a bit complicated for some of you guys out there, but that's what this tutorial is about, or this whole course. It's going to be a lot of tutorials where you start to learn this stuff and start to use this stuff, and it's like a puzzle. You start somewhere, you know. Remember when you started guitar, you knew one pentatonic position. Later you knew all 5 pentatonic positions. Then you knew there's also major pentatonics, 5 positions, and you could cover the entire fretboard. There was a process. You know, the puzzle started small, got bigger, then you got the full picture of the fretboard. Now the puzzle has smaller pieces. It's going to take way more till you get a full picture, but we need to start somewhere. And the first step is that you need to understand, follow the chords, learn the modes, learn the arpeggios, step by step, build up your technical abilities, that you have the speed, that you can play a run with, I don't know, this was 80 BPM, maybe with 100 BPM, 110 BPM. That would be really cool, but take it easy. It's a long path, and we're starting here today, and I hope you join it. And if it was everything too fast for you, I cannot go into every detail in each tutorial. Few things you already need to understand a bit, or you figure it out. But however, I'm gonna write down the the scales I showed you, the arpeggios I showed you, and also 1 or 2 ideas of what I just did. And you can practice it with this really cool backing track, which I produced extra for this purpose, that you can practice and have some fun. It also has a second part, which takes quite often, is really fun to play. You know, fun is also important when you have to do hard stuff. And you can download the stuff in the HPCrazy guitar. I completely forgot that. All this stuff is available in the HPCrazy Guitar Academy for download as PDF, as Guitar Pro, and the backing track, of course. If you have any questions, you can ask there, and I will answer to you guys. And you also support the work which me and Dr. Pink are doing for the guitar community. Please join there, become a premium member, and start following this course if you're really into smooth jazz and you passed. There's also a basic smooth jazz course. If you've finished that one, you're ready for this one here. See you guys.